What in the world is a picnic?
Well, a picnic is my definition of it is it's a human powered multi-sport adventure where at least one part of it should really scare you. That's like my own definition, right? And um and that's kind of like how I look at it.
And you coined the phrase is at least as far as I'm as far as I know, as far as I'm aware. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did. I did. I wrote a little I wrote a little thing about the picnic when it first happened. Um, and I made light of it. It was a sort of a joke when it started, it was a little bit of a way to comment on like how ridiculous people in Jackson Hole are, right? It's a bunch of like competitive A-type, like cardi hoes, as I like to call them. And and everybody's always upstaging each other, and it's like, how fast can you do the grand? And like, it's like when I first got to Jackson, like if you want to be considered a local, it's like you climb the Grand in a day, right? Like that was kind of like the thing. And and everybody's like and that's the reason I love Jackson, right? It's all these like super dynamic, hard charging people who are just like really like going for it, for the thrill of it, and to make a name, yeah, for sure. But like I just love like how, people charge here, right? Like Jacksonville has the worst nightlife in the Rockies
Mm.
because we all get up early, and the picnic was kind of a response to all of this, kind of a jokey thing, where it's like, because, it was like kind of ridiculous, right? There's no reason to like swim across Jenny Lake to go climb the Grand, and then when I first wrote about it, I made light of like all the different food I brought and like how it was like an excuse just to like stuff myself, all day in the course of this adventure. And then other people like Steve Casimiro of the Adventure Journal, he picked up on that when he wrote about it and how it was, and so when the Grand Teton National Park caught wind of the picnic, and I heard through the grapevine, because I know the rangers and people who work there, that they thought that there was some sort of like secret race going on, right? An unauthorized race. There had been some bikers who were like doing this like weekly ride, which kind of turned into a race, and they'd go through Grand Teton National Park, and they got upset about that. So now they're hearing about this like Grand Teton Triathlon, which was its first name, and they were convinced that like people were, there was prize money or whatever. And so I just heard about this, and I'm like, no, 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 like it needs a new name. And I thought, well, it should just be like the picnic, because that's kind of what it is, like
It's
so.
a picnic. Sounds like it's no picnic.
Well, it's funny. I mean, my philosophy is like when I do a picnic personally, like there's a lot of people that like go and they want to go do it really fast and they go out super hard. And my personal philosophy is I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy every part of it. And I don't want it to be like a suffer fest, right? Like I
Mm.
hate the word suffering in context of like exercise. And and I want to enjoy it, and yeah, obviously there's like some super brutal times sometimes where you have to like really dig deep, but that's what you're also there to do. So you should be enjoying that as well, right? And like really, it's like that's when I consider a picnic successful,
Yeah,
like when I had like an amazing time from beginning to end,
yeah.
right?
Well, I want to read this. I believe this came from your blog or from your website. I just want to read this so people have a little bit of context. After considering the possibilities while celebrating a birthday on the Grand and then making a few thwarted attempts, I completed the first Grand Teton picnic in 2012, biking 23 miles from Jackson's town square to Jenny Lake, swimming 1.3 miles across Jenny, and hiking and climbing 10 miles to the top of the 13,775-foot Grand Teton. I returned the same way, including swimming back across the lake. And by the time I biked into the square after midnight, that's a full day. I'd been moving for almost 24 hours. What a picnic.
Well, I'll tell you, that was in 2012, right? This year, um, what is it, 11 or 12 years later, Jan Dayton of Salt Lake City did the picnic in less than 11 hours. So like, I mean, the level of like what people are doing now, and Jen Dayton is a mom of five in Salt Lake. She is a monster in the mountains. And she just like came up this summer and just like put every picnicker to shame. It was absolutely amazing. Um, but yeah, and so when I did it, it's like I hear like when I like you hear like under 24 hours, I'm like I cringe a little bit, right? Because everybody's doing it so much faster than I am now. But
But David, what does it kind of mean to you? I mean, after all these years, you're sitting there talking about 12 years later. What does this
yeah,
mean to you that it's caught on like it has?
I mean, I love that it's caught on, right? It's like it's I love, it tickles me to no end, right? It tickles me to no end that like I mean, I'm not like I don't really consider myself an athlete. I'm more of a creative exerciser. And so like that my legacy might be athletic in my life is actually like incredibly amusing to me and a lot of my friends, especially the ones I grew up with, like the actual extent of my athletic abilities. And and that's the thing, right? Like a picnic is like a full-on adventure that like a lot more people can have than they think. I think the reason that the picnic is like caught on really is that it sounds like, you read that thing, it sounds ridiculous, it sounds incredible, right? You're gonna like bike all these miles, you're gonna swim in the lake, you're gonna climb the Grand, and it just sounds like it's ridiculous, outlandish, but as it turns out, like way more people can do this than think they can, and that's like the amazing thing of like the human body, right? And the human mind is like we have so much more, potential than we realize, all of us. I mean, I believe all of us, like really, like we are an athletic species, an incredibly athletic species, actually, and an incredibly powerful species when you consider, I love this sort of analogy, in the army, you can only like pack a mule with 20% of its weight, right? If you're gonna like take a mule train into the mountains. 20% of its weight is nothing for some of the female like athletes I know that will carry like 80 pounds into the mountains, right? Like 70% of their weight, not like 20. Like humans are actually like, because we're primates, are very strong and we have more temperature uh um toleration than any other species on Earth, basically, right? We're the only species that can actually swim, 5 miles across a lake and then climb to the top of a mountain and come back down. I mean, name another species that can do that, right? So, I mean, I think that like we have these like capabilities and what's cool is that the picnic has shown me and a lot of other people who have done it, that we're so much more powerful and have so much more athletic potential than we think.